I'm Steve. Today we're going to be changing out the factory standard exhaust on this Porsche 911 to the Porsche Sport Exhaust, or PSE as Porsche calls it. We're going to show video and audio clips of before and after so you can hear the difference, if any, between the standard exhaust and the PSE. And before we get started, I just want to talk about the make and model to make sure that there's applicability to what you may want to see. This is a 2009 911 Carrera S. It's the first year of the 997.2 and has Porsche's new MA101 engine in it. This engine made 375 horsepower from the factory, and it did not have the IMS bearing. First year for that. So if you do not have this model or later up to 2012, this application may not apply to your car. Okay, let's get started and listen to the audio tape. Back to work on the 911 Porsche. Yesterday we removed the bumper cover, which is the cover over the bumper. We removed the bumper itself and the heat shield that covers over the Billy Boat crossover exhaust. I wanted to show this to you because you'll see that on this car, the cylinders on the driver's side dump up into the Billy Boat exhaust and cross over and go into the muffler that's on the passenger side. Now, we've removed the muffler, and as I said earlier, we removed the bumper cover. I'm not going to show you the details of how that's done. It's fairly simple. There's 14 screws on the bumper cover and it comes off. There's 2 bolts on the bumper and it comes off. And then to remove the muffler, we have a hanger that goes on this attachment here and on those 2 screws there. Since I went to all the trouble to remove this muffler, it's a great time to replace the spark plugs. So we're going to do a spark plug tune-up in the car. As you can see, we have access to the cylinders here, here, and here. Here's the first igniter that I pulled out, and then there's also a cover shield that has to be removed. A comparison of the Porsche Sport exhaust, which is on the left, and the factory standard exhaust, which is on the right. Both of these exhausts go on the passenger or the right side of the car. You remember earlier I talked about the Billy Boat crossover pipe and how it came out of the driver's side of the car and crossed over. Well, the exhaust enters the pipe right here. So you've got the driver's side of the car, you've got the crossover pipe, you've got the exhaust exiting and entering the muffler here. Same thing on the factory muffler, the exhaust would come in and enter there. Now you'll note that the general layout and shape of the mufflers is the same. They fit into the same space, they have the same attachment points, and they have the same general layout. One thing important is missing from the factory exhaust, however. You'll notice that this top port is sealed off. So what we have on the factory exhaust basically is the hot exhaust gases entering the muffler here, going into the center, coming out from the bottom outlet in one tube, and then going into an exhaust splitter that gives the impression that it's 2 pipes, but it really is just one exhaust pipe. The key difference of the Porsche Sport exhaust, well, let's talk about what's the same first. We have the exhaust gases coming in here and going into the center of the muffler. And like the factory exhaust, we have exhaust gases coming out from the bottom here and exiting through this specific pipe. We also have exhaust gases coming out of the top, coming down and exiting out of that pipe. So we have one additional exit pipe on the Porsche Sport exhaust. The other difference is the Porsche Sport exhaust has a valve here. It's a vacuum valve. There's a button on the dashboard, and when you push that button, the Porsche Sport exhaust opens or closes. Now, I don't have that on my car. I won't have the vacuum, so I'm not going to use it. The impact of that is that this pipe will be open at all times. Here is the device, and you can see it's in the pipe. It's like a butterfly valve. Think about like a gas pipe for like natural gas, where you can turn it on and turn it off. There is a valve right here that moves back and forth. There is a valve right here that opens and closes. The force of vacuum will pull it closed, and that's the closed position. And then that's the open position with the spring holds it open at all times. Okay, let's look at spark plug pricing. Let's see if we can find some plugs for this Porsche. First of all, the plugs that it takes are Bosch FGR 5NQ E4. We found them here on FCP Euro for $3.91 each. Again, that's for the Bosch FGR 5N QE04 $3.91. FCP Euro is a vendor I often use. I like their service, I like their pricing, and that lifetime guarantee is just unbelievable. It would have been really nice 30 years ago, but whose lifetime are we talking about here? Let's talk about the Porsche's lifetime. Okay, so FCP Euro $3.91. Let's check ECS Tuning. ECS Tuning has our Bosch plugs. 17% off MSRP for $6 for the Bosch plug. And they also have a Porsche plug in the box that says Porsche on it. It's genuine Porsche price. The Porsche part number, believe it or not, is FGR 5NQE. Those plugs are only $25.02 each. So Porsche, hey, I'd like to have that label on my spark plugs. Not. 500% markup over their own retail price for a Porsche labeled part. I think that might be a clue as to where Porsche makes their money and what their profit margins might be. Let's say we let that one go. Next, let's look at Rock Auto. Here's Rock Auto. They have a lot of different brands. Here's our Bosch plug. Rock Auto is $3.40. Of course, all of these prices, you have to pay shipping. At ECS, if your bill's over $49, you get free shipping. So I guess that is one advantage to that Porsche plug pricing. But I think for $3.40 times 6, even with shipping, that's less than $30 for new spark plugs. Let's order from Rock. Coming up. Okay, let's take a look at those plugs that came out of the car and see what kind of condition they're in. Here they are. The car's had about 25,000 miles on it. The plugs are still in good enough condition to last for a while. No better time than the present, though, to remove them. They do have a little bit of that ivory color that you look for on the combustion. None of the electrodes are burned away. Not too much carbonization on there. And judging by the looks of these spark plugs, I'd say I have a pretty healthy running engine. What do you think? Okay, let's order those spark plugs and get ready to install them. Okay, the Porsche Sport exhaust is installed. Ain't it pretty? Before we go on with the comparison test, I want to thank some people. My inspiration for creating a YouTube has been Christina, Vanessa, and Harrison, whose Growing Up Gets YouTube channel is always a fun watch. I also want to thank my wife. She knows the difference between a female E10 Torx and a male T27. It's a lifesaver when I'm lying on my back and I need a tool. You know what I'm talking about? Stick around after this video, after you hear the PSE sound demo. We'll spend a few minutes on Tech Talk, and then we'll take a test drive in the car and let you hear the sounds. Thanks. better slow down here. It looks like we got some turkeys crossing the road. Wow. Ordinarily we see them up north, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Okay, a fitting way to end a video. Hey, well anyway, this has been my first YouTube video. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun for me. I hope maybe you learned something. Overall, I'm very satisfied with these exhausts. They have just the right note of aggressive snarl with being quiet when I'm not on the throttle. They're not loud and rappy like a lot of the ones that Detroit are putting out now. They don't drone at freeway speeds. They were a fairly easy install. They gave me a chance to do my spark plugs and get that knocked down. This car is an 09 997.2, as I've stated earlier. It has about 25,000 miles on it. Probably a little bit early to be doing spark plugs, but again, I couldn't go in that deep and not change them. It was just too easy and just the right time. So once again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.